Who else did you respect as drummers beside Keith Moon, for example?
My
And Lars Ulrich, of course.
My biggest early heroes were, my three biggest heroes when I was a kid was Ringo, Keith Moon, and John Bonham. And still to this day, those are probably my three favorite bands, the Beatles, The Who, and Led Zeppelin. All three of those drummers, they each brought something different to drumming. I mean, Ringo invented it all. The Beatles invented everything. And Ringo was the first to play anything outside of the box. So, I mean, that in itself was a huge inspiration for me. Keith Moon, like I just mentioned, was the ultimate showman. You know, I couldn't take my eyes off him. He'd be bouncing sticks, and you know, his arms and legs were just going nonstop like a train. And then John Bonham was just the king of the groove. I mean, just he could play the simplest thing, but it just sounded like nobody else. He had a power and a finesse that was completely unique. And so those were the three big ones. And then I would say that there's a fourth big one that came a little later, and that would be Neil Peart from Rush. And Neil was my drum god for many, many years when I was a young teenager. He was the first guy that I saw that played like a huge drum set, and he was playing odd time signatures. And he kind of played like Keith Moon in terms of being busy, but the way Keith was like out of control. Keith was completely bombastic and like crazy, non-controlled. Neil played very busy and all over the place, but was very controlled and had a lot of technique, and everything that Neil played was very, very precise and thought out. So he was kind of the polar opposite of Keith Moon, but they both were very, very busy drummers. So I would say those are the big four for me.